As a woman in gaming, I love to call out dumb articles trying to group all women together, trying to say that most women in the gaming industry would be offended by something, or just people trying to make a scene and cause drama out of nothing. But I like to give my opinion as a woman on articles just like this one titled Cyberpunk 2077's attitude towards women are more 1997 than 2077. And I could tell from the title alone that I was going to disagree with this because I played Cyberpunk 2077 myself. I've been doing a second playthrough of it off stream, and I think the attitude towards women is not an issue at all whatsoever. So I am using an archive of this article. I don't want to support this trash at all. It is from VG247 though, go figure. Cyberpunk 2077's presentation of women reminds us gaming still has blind spots for representation. I'm gonna have to try to keep a straight face during this article because it's truly a gem. So Cyberpunk 2077's best characters are women. Panam Palmer and Judy Alvarez are head and shoulders above the rest of the cast. Rogue and Claire kick ass, the purple-haired Mox are the most visually interesting characters in Night City. Okay, I think that's a pretty reasonable opinion. If you just look at the big picture stuff, there is so much to celebrate about the game's presentation of women. It starts kind of positive right there, and then it falls off of a freaking cliff. The problem is that these examples are icing on the cake that's already been burnt. And not just burnt, but full of mud and rocks and blood and scorpions. A cake that's not just bad, it's nasty. Not poorly made, but designed to hurt. Cyberpunk 2077 acts like it loves women, but Night City itself hates them. In any game with a character creator, historical statistics show that in general, more players will choose male because more men play these major games more than any other gender. There are a plethora of reasons for this, but I'd like to park them and just say, it's a fact. Men do. So I always play as a woman, knowing that I'm playing the game wrong. Some games actually surprise me and feel incredibly inclusive. Most feature little winks or moments that suggest the male is the default without it being too invasive. People like this complain when a main character is gender locked. Now they're mad that a character creator has a story where you could be either gender. When a game gives me the option, I could go either way personally. I could choose male or female. I just want to play the game. I don't think about if I'm fighting the freaking patriarchy with every choice I'm making. It says, this is reinforcement right from the start. In V and Jackie's first playable mission together, you're tasked with finding Sandra and you later find her naked, almost dead in an ice bath. In a scripted cutscene, you pull her out of the water, her chest is on display as V stares into her lifeless eyes. A man in the bath with Sandra is given the dignity of underwear, but Sandra is not. Sandra, of course, is dying, and it says throughout Night City, we see several women dead on the floor as set decoration, as we also see many strewn across Ripperdoc tables. This is followed by the game's treatment of Evelyn Parker, who seems at first like she'll be one of the game's strong female leads, and she kinda was, to be honest. She was a pretty strong lead for a lot of the game. She's cool, stylish, and competent, even if we accept the fact that we meet her at a strip club. We then see her memories, where she's scared around big, tough men, is literally called effable meat, and uses her powers of seduction to betray a man. Next time we see her, she eventually ends up dying. Then there's the posters. Much like the mutilated women, they're scattered around the world as a constant reminder of who Night City belongs to and who it doesn't. Now, people like this journalist literally admit that they want more women in games, and I'm okay with that. I would love seeing more strong women in video games, but she doesn't want women to be treated the same in games the way that men are. Men in this game are torn up and killed and get attacked and see combat all of the time. And she's mad that women do too, that there are women in this game who die, who are cut open, who, do use their bodies to get their way in the game. It's a video game. She wants women to be propped up on a pedestal and never get hurt or killed and want them to be basically safe all of the time. And that's just lame and it's just terrible. If you want more women in games, you need to expect them to experience the same things that male characters do, especially in a setting like Cyberpunk 2077. So it says, if you've read this far without rushing to the comments, of course they're already starting to play the victim card, you might be wondering, what is my point? So it treats women badly, and lots of games do. What's your point? Well, my point is lots of games don't. Not anymore, and not like this. Never on this scale. While women are still in the minority when it comes to playable characters, we're seeing more major games push women to the forefront, less hypersexualization, more agency and character development, and more nuanced storytelling in general in gaming. Even in male-led games, we're seeing a greater emphasis on emotional development, on relationships. Gaming has not held these attitudes for a long time, and when a game literally pastes them from wall to wall, it's disappointing to see it lauded so uncritically. Now, this person talks about how women aren't represented properly in Cyberpunk 2077, that they're not treated fairly. All we see are women being ripped apart on Ripper dock tables, and so many of them are killed. I just want to point out that Cyberpunk 2077 is a dystopian game. If they don't know what the description of dystopian is, relating to or denoting an imagined place or state in which everything is unpleasant or bad, typically or environmentally a degraded one. The literal definition of dystopian is right freaking there. CD Projekt Red was trying to make a world that fit that definition, and they did. They did a good job. In a world like this, progressive ideas that this writer is looking for probably don't exist. People like her want to destroy storytelling by rewriting the definition of things like dystopian and what they mean. You want to talk about Orwellian 1984 stuff? That is what she's advocating for. What is this misogyny supposed to comment on? What do these dead, naked, or dead and naked women add to the game's storytelling? Why isn't this person pointing out that there are dead and naked men in Cyberpunk? Probably because it doesn't help push their narrative. It is very unfortunate that Cyberpunk launched in such a buggy and broken state, because the game itself, the world, the lore, the characters, just the story was so good. And I honestly think if the game hadn't been broken, this would have been such an amazing game. I hate seeing hate click articles like this. I really dislike it, because you can tell they're only writing articles like this just to make a point, just to try to get people up in arms and a little bit upset, so they, click it, write it, a heated comment, but it's still a click, it's still a view, and it's still a comment. How about you just let developers create what they want and stop trying to control their stories? If you don't like it, you don't have to play it. Stop trying to ruin everyone's enjoyment because you dislike the game. But that's all that I really had to talk about in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like and share it. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way. But I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.